So defense stocks have pulled back today after a historic run to all-time highs. And there's a few reasons why. Let's jump into it. So first, we do see Big Bear, for example. This has been a pullback that was kind of expected. We talked about it yesterday as a potential pullback here. Black Sky as well, not just Big Bear, but CTM Stock and Redwire were down today. You can see them pulling back here. Now, Big Bear AI, it's been on a run. We started covering it around $1 a share. We've seen it make this recent run into $10 a share back in February, selling down and then making another run in the summer up to $8.72. And then recently today, as you can see, it did pull back 10% down to this level. So we do see this kind of trend here where it's pulling back to this EMA. And that is exactly what is kind of healthy for the stock. I know it's not the most ideal, but in reality, it just surged to $9.50. When you see this pullback, looks like it's near a previous resistance. So let's see how it looks. Yeah, previous resistance, what we were talking about yesterday, the conservative play would be, again, that sell down to 850 is what we were looking for it to hold yesterday. And then it did sell down further into the more conservative range, down to this $7.50 range. So it has a $7.50 support. We'll see how it holds. They also have a level here at $7. Why is that? Well, if you look at defense companies, let's take a look at, Big Bear AI. They are definitely seeing more positive narrative over the last few months, hence this massive rally here. And we do have long-term positions we hold because of the big beautiful bill that was recently signed. Now, the big beautiful bill actually was not something that immediately saw the impact, but we did see that as they've been building out their tech for their TrueFace and their VeriScan, they've seen more infrastructure deployed. So this VeriScan right here, just in the last few months, right here, this facial scanner has been deployed at numerous airports, many airports, and they just announced a new partnership with T-Second just yesterday. So they're working on the deployments of their AI tech, and we see them getting into more airports here. These are some of the airports, if you haven't seen them: Chicago, Dallas, Denver, JFK, Los Angeles, and what have you. But for Big Bear, simply put, they have seen that infrastructure build. The revenue hasn't kicked in after seeing that infrastructure come in. They haven't seen the revenue spike yet. And on top of that, the government shutdown right now. With the government shutdown, if we were to, pull up BBAI right now, get an analysis on the company and look at where they're kind of projected, you could also see that the data we consider in the government shutdown, while generally with government shutdown data, we'll see it pull up here in a second, generally the markets go up when we have a government shutdown. And that's what we've seen historically. However, when we look at the government shutdown data that's come in, the number one industry that's impacted is going to be the defense markets. And you can see when we look at some of the data here with the current shutdown, again, generally positive returns during shutdowns if we look at the analysis. However, one thing to consider is that the markets that are most impacted and don't always have the most recoveries and growth in government shutdowns, if those government shutdowns are prolonged, are defense companies. So contracts may be delayed. We see that kind of take place right now, and not a lot of contracts getting rewarded. And that's why you see most likely some of that momentum kick out and not see as much growth in the defense sector as of the last week. It's basically where it was when they started the government shutdown, if not dropped a little bit since then. So that's how most defense companies look. It's not like they don't have good infrastructure. The future looks good. I mean, World Cup is coming up for them. CTM Stock, very similar situation. They haven't seen much. They did see a recent contract announcement on their site, a GSA MAS contract for specifically technology for executing, allowing to compete in markets related to getting more, basically related, this contract is related to getting more contracts from the government. They have some recent contracts they got for intelligence and agentic AI for the government and some other things that have put them into the contract pipeline of having about $100 million plus contract pipeline with good financials. They have good revenue, and they're probably going to sustain through this government shutdown quite well because they have good revenue that's even greater really than their market cap right now at 91 million. So they look good, but again, they're struggling. They're back down. We're kind of waiting on this potential recovery. They're back down to $95 or 95 cents, a share, which is a previous support level. We've seen them take some time to get off of, and they're just consolidating. And so that's what you see with a lot of the companies. Even Redwire had a really nice run recently. They pulled back down to this support. You could see we were looking for this potential support level to get validated once again around this $8.50 range. They're still holding $8.50. So maybe this is a pullback and most stocks bounce that support and we see things go well. If government shutdown is a big factor and maybe they stay below, then again, a lot of them have another 5-10% drawdown potential in their current market. So even Redwire, they have billion-dollar exposure right now, being one of 14 contractors on a $2.6 billion deal. They've had $300 million in revenue, and their assets are greater than their current market cap. Like, they're not a bad place financially, but from a new contract perspective, investors might not like to see an extended government shutdown. Maybe it's fine for tech, right? Tech is probably fine. But for defense, that's the impact that happens. And it might cause some really good deals to come up in the defense sectors. So you want to watch for that. As most defense companies did see some sell-offs today. Same thing with Black Sky. Black Sky's had a lot of contracts related to their space tech for AI. They are one of the only AI-driven space tech companies. And if you look at what they're providing, they have this AI vision that can see all the different ships and airplanes and tankers and stuff that are going down on Earth and can even probably see humans. They got really good cameras, could probably pick up human faces, how good their cameras are. They're looking at the air traffic, all that stuff with their imagery from their satellites. Super good imagery there, as you could tell from the satellites. So when we look at Black Sky, they're in a similar position. They've had some new contracts related to defense. Maybe they're okay because we know some of their contracts came from international contracts, but overall, they haven't seen anything really in the last month related to government contracts. They've had some 7-figure deals, 2-year deals, initial contracts, some Navy contracts just over this summer, but they haven't seen anything in the last month. Probably, again, government shutdowns, no spending, they're probably not going to see that kick in. So they're pulling back right now, and they have a support level around $25 a share. They did hold that today. You can see that level, maybe holding off and continuing their trend that they're in here, or the very conservative sell down. We already got the 65% increase we were looking for last time when they were down in this range. But you do have this trend here. They might hold, continue that uptrend that they're in, or conservative sell down again in that $15 or $20 range. So we're going to watch closely on the defense companies. There's a lot to be focusing on, but they're still creating more value than ever before, I believe, with this AI tech that's coming out. And they got the hardware. A lot of these companies, Redwire, when I was talking to Air Force Research Laboratory at a conference, they said the hardware side of Redwire is really cool. When we go through the airport recently at LAX, when we're flying out here to Buenos Aires, BBAI has the hardware scanning my face. Black Sky, again, they're launching. If you go to Rocket Lab and you look at some of the Rocket Lab news, and you look at, Rocket Lab is a top space company, and they've been launching, if you look at some of their missions that they launched, they've launched some missions here with Black Sky. So the actual, and they've been doing that for years. If you go back, you can go NASA launches, but if you go back far enough, even 2022, Black Sky's been getting the hardware up into space. So these companies have real world usage, and in their pullbacks we're seeing now, it's buying opportunities for long-term traders or investors, I should say. And then the short-term traders, again, got to look at the plan, got to look to manage the risk, and look for those opportunities if they present themselves in the trends that are currently taking place. So again, we'll be watching these at market open. If you ever want to tune on into our live sessions, it's going to be the second link in the description You get a free t-shirt and you can join us. It's not here on YouTube. It's a private session you get a link to in your email every day at Market Open, Monday through Friday, if you want to join us there. And then also, if you want to get access to some predictive analytics like this, that's basically giving us the projections for these companies, then I would encourage you, go ahead, check the first link in the description, as we just recently revealed for first access members what it takes to get your hands on this machine. It's an AI predictive intelligence. You can also visualize different markets, see how companies are connected. In this case, Big Bear and Palantir, I could see that connection there. And I can click on through and get that analysis here on Big Bear. So really exciting stuff. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.